All right, hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. All right, today we're going to do a video on talking about what is the broken stack. What does the term broken stack on defense mean? All right, make sure you check out some of our sponsors. All right, HighandTight sideline replay system that we use here at our school. If you're looking for #1 choice for coaches looking for a highly reliable, highly affordable sideline replay system, make sure you check out HighandTight. Dome Hats, which is the official headwear sponsor of Play Fast Football and the school that I'm at right now. Here's my school hat that we designed, swords up on the back with a Velcro on the back. You could change. All right, you can change the panels, you can change the colors, you can put your own logo, you can put writing on the side, change the color of the dome logo, change the button, the eyelets, you can change whatever you want. They have a custom online hat builder that you need to check out so you can start designing your own hat. Baker Sports is the company that provides us with our uniforms. Local sporting goods company here in Northeast Florida provides us with our uniforms, our spirit packs, our under uniform gear for our players, our coaches gear. You can set up stores for your fans to buy their gear at, so make sure you check out Baker Sporting Goods. Difference USA, the ultimate striking machine. We have one in our weight room. You get thousands of reps without needing a partner. Perfect during times like these because all you have to do is wipe the pad down. You don't have to worry about body-on-body contact. HighandTight is a ball security training aid that you use with your skill players, your running backs. Have to hold the ball in the proper position, split the tip, proper wrist position, elbow position, forearm. HighandTight with the ball up where it is so it makes an auditory beep. When you hear that beep, you have the ball where it belongs, which teaches you muscle memory to know that's the feeling, that's where the ball needs to be. If I don't hear that beep, I'm doing something wrong. So you get instant auditory feedback. And JustPlayFB, which is, for me, the diagramming tool that I use when I'm diagramming plays. If I'm going to speak at webinar, if I'm going to do any webinars, speak at any clinics, I always use JustPlay to diagram my plays. And if I'm going to do anything playbook-wise here at my school, I always use JustPlayFB. It's a powerful presentation, digital software taking your program to the next level. Please check out our sponsors. So, recently in the last 2 or 3 years, you may have heard the term broken stack defense. All right, and really where it comes from is the things that Iowa State's been doing on defense the last couple of years after they made the change from a 4-down or an even team into their hybrid 3-3 stack defense. But the term broken stack means breaking from the original 3-3 stack, which used to be called the 30 stack or the 3-3 stack or the odd stack. All right, and I've got drawn up the way that we've played the 3-3 stack the last couple of years. All right, when we were playing the defense as a base, and we played it as a traditional 3-3 stack. We played it true to its alignment. All right, the reason we went to it is because it fit our personnel. We thought it was different than what other people were doing. We thought that we could fit 6 guys in the box, very similar to the way we fit our even 4-2 front, while still maintaining our 3 safety structure. Okay, and when I say that, what I mean is our 3 safety structure is not a 3 high safety structure. When you study Iowa State or the new defense that's been in vogue in the Big 12, the quote-unquote air raid killer, it's 3 high safety defense. We're a 3 safety defense, but we're not a 3 high safety defense. We are always going to deploy our free safety to the passing strength, which is going to make the down safety to that side become the star, the nickel, whatever you want to call him. All right, he's going to become that down safety that becomes that quasi-outside linebacker, while the backside safety stays as an up and back. All right, could possibly be a high safety. He could be down towards the box. All right, giving us 8-man fronts. So we're a 3 safety team, but we're not a 3 high safety team. All right, the term broken stack, all right, it refers to breaking this 3-3 stack, but still playing with that personnel group. And I think sometimes if you're new to the game or you're new to studying things, you need to understand what personnel group means. So the personnel group means 3-3-5 means that they are playing 3 D linemen, 3 linebackers, and 5 DBs. Of those 5 DBs, 3 of those happen to be safeties. Okay, that's how we play the defense. So 3 D linemen, 3 linebackers, 5 DBs. It doesn't necessarily, the term 3-3-5, although it is most often associated with the 3-3 stack or the 30 stack or the odd stack, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the defense you're playing. It means that's the personnel group that's on the field that you're playing with. So at any time in the 3-3 stack, okay, you could get to over or under. You could bump the front, all right, one way or the other, and you could get yourself into an over or an under look by just bumping the nose, bumping the end, and bringing one of your stacks up on a ball, and now playing with the remaining 2 stack backers in the box. All right, you could bump the front the other way, all right, and get the end down there, the nose there, the end there, move the left stack up, and now play with the 2 remaining stacks, and you can get from under to over. You can get to several different fronts that you want to get to, while still playing 3-3 personnel. So the 3-3-5 is more of the personnel grouping, but the 3-3 stack or the odd stack defense is always referred to as that look with 3 linebackers stacked behind, all right, the 3 defensive linemen, and this is the base structure that we went to, all right, because again, it fit our personnel. It was different than other people were doing. We found a simplistic means to read blocks and fit runs with our 6 in the box, and we were still able to play our 3 safety structure behind it with all of our split field coverage principles. The broken stack refers to taking this personnel group, okay, and breaking it up from the stack look to becoming more of a hybrid 3-4 team. All right, the reason you're not a 3-4 team is because you're not playing 3-4 personnel. But the broken stack, all right, gets you into a situation where you are now playing, all right, a defense that is conducive to looking like a 3-4, all right, as a hybrid or a change-up. But what it does is it allows, the broken stack allows Iowa State to play their 3-high safety system, which is not what we were playing. We were playing 3 safeties, but we were not playing 3 high safeties, although we do have a coverage in our package that's a 3 high safety coverage. It's not part of our base defense how we play every down. They want to play every down as a 3 high safety team for the most part. So what they had to do when they came up with this defense 3 or 4 years ago, the defense coordinator, John Haycock, was an even guy. He was a 4-3 guy. His brother was at Ohio State, or they were 4-3 guys, or 4-2-5 guys, or they morphed the 4-3 into the 4-2-5. But they were 4 down, even front guys. And then when they were having trouble, when Matt Campbell first got to Iowa State, and they struggled a little bit, they had to find a defense that could fit their personnel at Iowa State and fit the personnel that they could recruit. Because football in general, especially in high school and in college and even the NFL, it's about not trying to put square pegs in round holes. So you only have certain personnel. At Iowa State, they have to go recruit. All right, to this day, they just beat Texas in a game where they said it was 5-star culture beating 5-star players. They still don't feel like on paper they're getting the same recruits at the rate that some of these other blue blood major Division I colleges are. So they have to recruit what they can find. A lot of times at those levels, it's hard to find defensive linemen. It's hard to find interior 1 techniques and 3 techniques, or the big bodies that are athletic enough to play, because they usually go to the blue bloods. They go to the top tier programs. So what teams like Iowa State have done and TCU has done in the past is they go out and recruit what they can get at their place. They get really, really good players that are physical, tough, athletic players, and then they morph the scheme to fit to what their bodies are. So instead of going out to force feed and recruit the guys that you can't land, and then when you do get the defensive lineman in an even front, you're getting the lower tier in the country because the blue bloods are getting all the best ones, you're having a hard time fitting your defense to that. So what they did was they went out and found a system, and they created a system that fits their players, and it became the broken stack with 3-3-5 personnel. So they're playing it with 3 down linemen, they're playing it with 3 linebackers, and they're playing it with 3 safeties. But for them, they want to be, all right, they want to be a 3 high safety structure. The only way they can do that is they have to break the stack. So when you're talking about defending a 20 personnel, 2x1, 11 wide off, however you want to look at it, all right, one of the quote-unquote heavy spread sets, the heavier spread run sets that you're going to see, okay, in order for them to play their 3 high safety structure, they need to break the stack and they need to bring a linebacker out to play the apex position. So now what they've got to do is they've got to kind of adjust the front, and they've got, you know, really 3 different fronts that they play. You know, they'll play 5-0-5, okay, and then they'll play 4-I-0-5, and then they'll play 4-I-0-4-I, or affectionately known as the tight front. So when they're doing that, sometimes they've got to be able to break the stack up, and then match the fronts with how they're breaking the stack up. Okay, so in order for them to bump that linebacker out, what they may do is they may play the 4-I to that 2 receiver side, go ahead and play the shade either to the backside with a 5 to the backside, which allows them to leave one of their stack backers in the B gap, the other stack linebacker ready to play the A gap. Okay, so they've broken the stack look. They're still playing with 3-3-5, but they've broken the stack look and they've morphed into almost a 3-4 scenario. All right, a 3-4, because you're looking at that 3-2 box. And that's the difference. That look in the box goes from 3-3 to 3-2. All right, so they may play the nose set up and lag them behind the blocks of the center, backdoor in the A-gap. They may shade them one side or the other. All right. But what this does is it allows them to take one of their stack backers and walk them out to be the apex, which lets them take their left side safety, okay, in our defense or in my personnel. It allows me to play the left safety high, all right, which allows me to play the 3-on-2 structures that I want to play here. So for argument's sake, let's just say it's 2 read. All right. On the back side, they can leave the right safety high, and now they can play their 3-on-2 systems with the ram, or the right side backer, and the corner and the safety, and now they can play their cloud looks with the corner up. They can play their invert sky looks with the safety down and the corner back. They can play quarters looks to the backside. They can do whatever they want to the backside. Where the defense gets unique for them is their middle safety, which is my free safety, is now a guy that kind of plays off the number 3 in the set. All right, so a lot of times you'll hear people, for all intents and purposes, when they're talking about Iowa State, you'll hear them talk about, them basing out of a quasi Tampa 2. All right, where maybe the corners are up, safeties are off the half, middle safety is the high hole player. All right, he's kind of being able to help play 3 vertical. If 3's not vertical, he can drop down and fill some voids in the coverage. All right, so I'm not here to necessarily talk about the back end of what they do, but most of the time when talking about the Iowa State stuff, you'll hear people talk about them playing in Tampa. But they play this structure, so it remains 3 high safeties. And then that really becomes that guy that you lose in the 3-4 that may be up here as a jack linebacker when you're a traditional personnel team. This middle safety now becomes the wild card. He becomes the odd, the hybrid, the guy that you have a hard time identifying in the blocking scheme. And that's the guy they rely on making a lot of plays for them and being the extra fitter that gives the offense so much trouble. Okay, so they can play this version of the shaded front. All right, they can play the tight front, which for them is 4-eye, 0, 4-eye. Now they can play the tight front to both sides. Okay, so what it lets them do is it lets them change fronts, break the stack so that they can play traditionally the way they want to play, leaving this safety as the high defender. And for all intents and purposes, what ends up happening is they still have, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, primary guys that they want to count in the run fit. And then the extra guys become that middle safety 7. And however they're going to play these 2 on the backside, whether it's going to be a clouded look or a sky look or whatever they're going to do, that's going to be the 8th guy in the run fit, and that's where they're going to get their extra guys into the run fit. So it allows them to stay by breaking the stack and getting it allows them to morph into what actually looks more like 3-4 looks. All right, so it looks more like a 3-4 box, except you're missing, and they do have some defenses where they can play with that guy down that looks like a jack on that side. So this isn't the only thing they do. By all means, I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to give you a simplistic look at what the broken stack is and why teams would choose to play it. They choose to play it with that personnel group on the field so that they can leave their 3 high safety system. All right? So there's times where, for them, there's times where they might get closer into the stack look. So there's times for them where they may actually stay in the stack look, and a lot of times they'll play, all right, a 3 buzz where the safeties will both come down to be 7 and 8 in the box. The middle safety will now rotate, and the corners will now be off the thirds, and now they're playing 8-man front 3 deep. However they want to play it, whether they want to match it, country cover 3, whatever they're doing, all right, they're able to rotate safeties down, and now they've got a look where the 2 safeties are down and they're playing 3 deep from their 3 high safety structure. So their 3 high safety structure allows them to break the stack whenever they choose to break the stack, change or shade the front however they choose to shade the front when they break the stack. It allows them to keep the integrity of the 3 high safety defense, which allows them to spin to multiple looks. Okay? And it allows them to be multiple in their blitz game. All right, so the one thing that it's kind of revolutionized the Big 12. It's been, again, Tab the air raid killer. But the one thing that everybody talks about when you listen to coaches or Big 12 coaches talk about Iowa State on defense, it looks the same other than a few alignments of the front and a few alignments of the broken stack. That high side looks the same all the time. It's hard to tell who the extra fitters are. It's hard to tell who the free hitters are that they're trying to send the ball to, and that's one of the reasons that Iowa State is so good on defense. all right, and they do such a great job with it, is because they are able to keep the integrity of the three high system because of the broken stack. So because they're able to break the stack, they can keep the integrity of their three high system because they can break that stack up and give you different looks. So a lot of times in 2x2, what you may get, okay, is you may get them, whether it's the tight front, all right, you may get them breaking the stack to give you a 3-1 box, walk both backers out so that they can keep the two outside safeties deep on the half playing whatever rotation of coverage they want to play, and then the middle safety is the wild card guy fitting off the number 3, who in a 2x2 set is the back. So now they've clogged the B gaps, they've tried to force runs to go out, they don't give you big bubbles. The problem with the 3-3 stack, especially when it's a static 3-3 stack without movement, is you have two big bubbles on each side. With those two big bubbles on each side, if you don't take those big bubbles away, you're asking your linebackers to take guards on a lot of the time. And a lot of times in high school, you're not going to have the linebackers that are big enough to go up there and plug against linebackers, but you also need guys that can be out in space covering. Okay? So the 3-3 stack gives you two big bubbles on each side, and a lot of people don't like that. So the broken stack, being able to change and go if you can play the tight front, now gives you a look of a 3-1 box, but at the same time, they're able to play the coverages they want to play by apexing the backers out. They can leave the middle safety as the wild card, joker, star, whatever you want to call him in their defense, the Aztec safety. He's the wild card in the defense. You got to figure out where he's going to play coverage and where he's going to fit all the time. And now they're able to give you that static three high safety look that you have to pick and choose for the quarterback and the coordinator. What's the coverage going to be? What's the run fit going to be? They take the open B gaps away and try to funnel the ball outside to where their guys can run so that they can play with speed. They take the open B gaps away, which is where a lot of spread football teams want to live, all right, in their run game, whether it be power read or counter game and the two-back stuff. They want to live in those open B gaps. So you take those open B gaps away, and now you're letting your back-end players make the difference up, all right, and that's where they've been so successful in the run game is they're presenting looks that a lot of people don't want to block. They're taking things away. It's harder to pull guards because you got a back block. A lot of times in order to run some type of guard pull scheme versus this defense with good 4 eyes, all right, a lot of times you're going to have to, all right, teams have gone now where they've been running more tackle pull schemes so the guard can block back. But what ends up happening a lot of times is with G pull schemes, it's very difficult to get that 4-eye blocked if a guard leaves. So now they have to use the center back, which means they have to use the front side guard down. So now what Iowa State has done is they've created one-on-ones and matchups that they feel like they can at least win or hold a point, where they're eliminating double teams because of the structure of the front. They're pushing the ball wide, all right, and now what they're trying to do is they're trying to eliminate, all right, some double teams up front and send the ball where they want, which is out wide so their back-end players can run to it. You know, the offensive adjustment sometimes to a lot of this is going to tackle schemes where the tackle's a puller, so now the guard can block out on that, and now you can still get at least one double on the nose, okay, somewhere back to a stack, and now the tackle can wrap for the mic. But again, what they're going to rely on, what Iowa State's going to rely on, is the extra fitters are going to come from there and then that safety, so they essentially still get 7 guys in what would normally be considered a 2-high structure. From their 3-high look, they still get 7 hats to the box versus 1 back, which is what you need to do to stop the run. You want to get as many hats, get that extra hat in there. Okay, so when you hear the term broken stack, what that means is that means the team's probably playing 3-3 personnel, but they're breaking away from the traditional 3-3 stack look. They're now getting into boxes that look more conducive to a 3-4 team, so it becomes a hybrid 3-3-3-4 defense, doing it with 3-3 personnel, 5 DBs on the field, playing that dime look as your base, which a lot of people do nowadays. And for the biggest thing for Iowa State is it allows them to stay in that defense, which is not the same as that defense. All right, this is who we've been the last 10 to 12, 13 years of my career from a 4-2 standpoint and a 3-3 standpoint. We've been a 3 safety structure. We have not been a 3-high safety structure. That's the nuance, the caveat, the wrinkle that's been brought in by Iowa State. And they're the most prevalent to do it. I'm sure there were other people out there doing it, but Iowa State has been the one that now Clemson has gone to see him, and other people in NFL and college teams have gone through Ames to talk to them about how they're doing that to defend the air raid passing game. And the colleges want to know how they're doing that to also fit the spread runs that give everybody fits. Okay, because the bottom line is you took a guy who was an even front guy and he found a way to play odd personnel, hybrid personnel, but he found a way to fit things similar to how he was comfortable in some of his even front stuff. He just made the middle safety the extra fitter as opposed to a down lineman. He's getting the same numbers, all right, in the box. He's getting the same numbers as the 4-2-5 or the 4-3 teams are. He's just doing it with different bodies, which makes it more difficult on the offense. Because as an offense, almost every offensive guy, when they draw plays, every offensive guy wants to come up and draw plays when they know the front is that. Everybody feels comfortable with that. Every offense, I do it on videos, I almost always start with some type of even front structure. You know where the 3 is, you know where the 1 is, you know where the doubles are, you know what they're doing. So what happens on defense is you don't want to stay in that alignment too long unless you're that dominant, that much better than the other team, because they're going to figure out where you're at, and if they know where you're at, eventually, if the talent gets even, they're going to expose you for where you're at. All right, so what the broken stack allowed Iowa State to do was play with the best players they could find, the best players on their roster, the best players they could recruit, find a defense that was conducive to stopping the spread teams and the air raid teams that were prevalent in the Big 12. All right, and they found themselves something that was different, something that was out there and exotic. All right, and they've had a lot of success the last couple of years. The problem they're going to have is now that everybody's starting to do it, everybody's starting to copycat them. Teams are going to figure out a way to beat it, and now you're going to have the chalk again, all right, when it catches up to you. And I'm sure John Haycock and Matt Campbell and Iowa State will do a great job with it. That's why they came up with something that was a little bit different. All right, but basically the broken stack is 3-3-5 personnel becoming a hybrid 3-4 defense that is able to do some different things to give you different looks. They're able to stay in that odd package with more speed on the back end. Their blitz patterns are a little bit better from the 3 down. And they're able to do some things in coverage to cover up some RPOs and some things and get the ball to bounce where they want it by using the new in vogue tight front, or even the shaded Okie front with an A shade of 5 and a 4-eye on the backside, and then using that middle safety as a wild card to make up for the jack or the buck or the guy that might be on the weak side to give them the same numbers in the box. Okay, so if you've heard the term broken stack and you weren't sure what it is, that's what it is. If you've heard the term 3-3 stack and you wanted to know the difference between 3-3 stack and broken stack, hopefully that explains it to you. We've been a 3-3 stack team the last couple of years. We've morphed back to a 4-2-5 team based on our personnel, but we were not a broken stack team. We weren't doing the things Iowa State was doing. We were doing 3-3 things in a 3-3 structure, fitting it very similar to a 4-2-5 with our 3 safety nickel system, not a 3 high safety system. So the broken stack allows Iowa State to play that new popular 3 high safety defense. All right, so again, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn the notifications on so you know every time we do a video. Thumbs up, thumbs down the video so we know the content that you like, the content that you don't like. Leave me a comment in the comment section. Everyone that goes through to me that I can see and I can read on my end, I try to respond to. All right, I appreciate everything you guys do for Play Fast Football. Hopefully, if you're either your season ended like mine did last week in the second round of the playoffs, and now we're getting into the time of year that I love so much, the off-season, studying what's in vogue, what the trends are, self-evaluating and going back and figuring out what we need to do better, what's my personnel moving forward, what changes do I need to make. This is an exciting time for year for me. All right, as always, as much as I love coaching football and games, I love the off-season probably just as much, because this is where you make all the gains and you turn your program around to figure out what you need to do with your program, what you need to do with your personnel, and then you go out and study. And you find some new wrinkles in your defense that you want to try and fit into your defense that college teams or maybe NFL teams are doing that are working. So, gotta love the offseason, love this time of year. Play Fast Football loves this time of year. Thank you for everything you do for us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Remember, you won't play well until you play fast. I'll see you guys next time.